Greetings, RC model geeks, and here we are in the shed for a Saturday afternoon fiddle. So here we have a KeilKraft Super 60. Now I bought this off Nervous Mike with the engine there for £50. It hadn't had much flying actually. The covering was actually fairly clean. You know, there wasn't oil or anything like that on it, etc, etc. So I don't think it had much flying. It's been knocking around for years, you know, and the quality of some of the buildings a little bit crappy, but it's a solid plane and it's light. Now this 4-stroke on the front there is a Super Custom. It's an SC30, and she was in a little bit of a sorry state where the plane had been sitting around for quite a few years, I would guess. All the aluminium had started to get that sort of powdery corrosion and shit on it. So I stripped that down today, cleaned it up, put it back together again. Like I said, didn't look like it had much running. Stripped the tank out, put new pipes on it, cleaned there was corrosion in the tank. There was like this crystalline corrosion on the brass clunk weight. So I had to sort all that out. It's only got a small little tank. It's a little 4-ouncer just sitting up in there. Yeah, like I said, it's a Super Custom 30 4-stroke. So, you know, the maximum size prop you can spin on this is about a 10.6, and that's what's on there. So this is at the bottom range, shall we say, of the power requirements for a Super 60. But yeah, we're going to be flying that. Looking forward to getting a bit of glow fuel soaked into my jumper, and looking forward to the sound again of a nice little 4-stroke puttering along. Right, anyway, the reason for today's video is I have the wing for this Super 60, and if I grab hold of it here, there it is. It's a bit big to fit in the camera, but like I said, I mean, look, it's clean as, you know, underneath, you know, it hasn't had oil over it. So what I'm going to do is I want to make a KeilKraft logo and a Super 60 logo to put onto the wing before I varnish the Solartex. It's covered in Solartex, this plane, and I've already varnished the fuselage and the horizontal stab. Here it is. And everything else, it's just the wing I've got to varnish now. And so before I do that, like I said, I want to make some vinyl decals to go on the wing, just to smarten her up a little bit and remind me what it is I'm flying, because I'm getting old now. So I'll move the plane out of the way, and we'll see what we need to do some vinyl cutting. Okay, so let's run over the basics of what is required. You will need a machine that cuts a vinyl. This one is a P-Cut CTO 630. Now, you can either feed this with rolls of vinyl, or you can buy sheets of vinyl, for example A4 sheets, and feed them in and cut them. You can do it either way. As you can see, I've got some rolls of vinyl here. When I bought this cutter, it actually came with 2 black rolls, 2 red rolls and 2 white rolls of vinyl, and I'm still on the first one of each since I've got it. So They're pretty simple things. What they've got there is a little cutting blade and a laser. Ignore the laser, it's just for alignment. But there's a cutting blade that's free to rotate, and it changes direction by itself as the vinyl is fed in and out of the cutter. Yeah, you can put basically any size vinyl into this up to the maximum length of the cutting machine. Like I said, you can put A4 sheets in here. You can feed the A4 sheets in from the front if you've got A4 sheets, or you can roll feed from the back. And there's I've got a little holder that will hold them. You can also get vinyl cutters with a stand. Now, if I had the room, a stand would have been very useful. I haven't got the room, so I didn't get the stand. The next thing you're going to require is some software. Anything that you cut has got to be a vector graphic. So you can't just basically take a JPEG or whatever, or a photograph of something and get it to cut out. You've got to convert that into vector graphics. Now, the cheapest way to do that is to download Inkscape. And Inkscape is a free bit of software. It's a vector drawing package with loads of different free plugins you can get to do different things, and that's what I use for converting whatever logo I find or whatever I draw into a vector graphic. Once you've got it as a vector graphic, you need some software that will drive the cutter. So, the software I use for cutting out is called SignCut Productivity Pro. Okay, it's pretty simple software, and what files this takes are SVG files, which is Scalable Vector Graphics. So whatever program you use to create your graphics needs to export SVG files. So you open up the SVG file in SignCut and you basically get a view of what it's going to cut out. There it is. And once it's there, you basically click on the little scissor icon and it sends it to the cutter and cuts it. Pretty simple. So I'm going to do this as a 2-colour. I'm going to do it with like a drop shadow. I'm going to do the KeilKraft in red and then a black drop shadow. Right, and here's the original artwork that I've got, that I looked at to get the ideas of what I was going to do. So as you can see there, that's a white with a black drop shadow. But like I said, I'm going to do red with a black drop shadow because it's on the yellow and the white won't show up very well. So I'm going to cut out some vinyl squares so we can just shove them up into the cutter. We have what we want to cut out loaded into SignCut, and there it is. It says KeilKraft. Now we're going to be cutting this twice because of the drop shadow effect we're going to do, and yeah, it's pretty easy. You set the size of the thing you want to cut. See that top corner? It says 50 up there. Yeah, 50 by 304. So that is the height and the width. So I worked out what sort of height I wanted, whacked it in there, and it scales your SVG to the right size. So I'm going to click on cut, which is the pair of scissors right there. Okay, and then I'm going to click cut out. Bang, and then over to the cutter. Now this cutter's got a couple of rollers here, pinch rollers, and you can slide them in and out to fit the size of your bit of vinyl that you're cutting. So like I said, you can whack stuff in from the front, or you can feed it in from the back on a roll. So this is just over 1 foot long, this logo. And it's just cutting out a box around it now. There we go, and she's done. So then we'll feed her out. Just like that, and bring it over to the bench and have a look at what we've got. Right, well, it's in there. I don't know whether you can see it, but that is all cut out. So I'm going to peel off the bits we don't need, and then you'll get a better idea of what it looks like. Now, what is useful, you can get some things called weeding tools, and they're like picks and stuff, and if you're doing a lot of vinyl, it's quite useful for picking all the bits that you don't need off the vinyl. Right, I'm going to come back once I've done that. Bit of weeding. I keep getting interrupted. So here is the vinyl after I've weeded out the bits that I don't need. The software automatically works out this sort of cut out frame. Yeah, so I'm going to put some red in there now, and we're going to cut exactly the same thing again. Okay, we got some red loaded in there, and you can see the alignment laser just there. All that does, that's all that is for alignment. It doesn't do any of the cutting. It's if basically you print something out and then you want to cut it out after, you would print alignment marks on the thing you've printed, line the laser up over it, and then when you go to cut it out, you'd know it was in the right place. So I'm going to go back over to here, hit cut again, cut, and cut out. There we go, and off she goes. So this is a Creation P-Cut CTO 630. You can see in there, it probably says Creation. There we go. She's cutting nicely. Now you can adjust the depth of the blade cut on the machine, or sort of manually as well. I'm still on my first blade. It's just worked pretty much faultlessly, and you can do some really nice graphics with it. Your imagination is the limit. There we go, it's cutting the border. And that's it. So let's bring that out. Bit more. Caught it. Right, and so we should have something cut out in there as well. Can't really see it. I'll weed this out and come back to you in a minute and let you see what we've got so far. Okay, here we go. There is the second one cut in red. So what we've got to do now is put this red on top of that black. Yeah, and offset it so that it makes it look like a drop shadow. Right, I'll get the next bit we need and be right back. Right, so the next thing that we need in our arsenal is transfer tape, that's what I call it, which is basically a big roll of masking tape. That's all it is, an extra wide roll of masking tape. It's about, I don't know, 8 inches, 7 inches, something like that. And then what we're going to do is stick that masking tape over this text. So I'm going to do that and come right back. So, transfer tape stuck on to the vinyl. There it is, and I've just basically cut it out around it. Now you want to rub it down to make sure that it does stick to the masking tape or the transfer tape. Yeah, let's get rid of that red one now, we don't need that. Here it is. Okay, because we're going to now peel off the backing and the vinyl is going to stick to this transfer tape. Then what we're going to do is have this down on the bench like that, and we're going to stick that over top of that very carefully with a slight offset to give us the drop shadow. Oh yeah. And if by magic, right, I just peeled off a bit of the transfer tape just to let you see what it looks like before we put it on the wing. But I think that looks pretty damn bloody good actually. So anyway, I'm going to put some more transfer tape over there, and then we'll look at sticking it on the wing. Yeah. Right. What do you reckon? I think that looks fucking good, I have to say. Works really well, that yellow, the red and the black. Very classic KeilKraft colours there. Beautiful. Yeah, so just basically rubbed it down. Looks nice. I always like putting the red over the black, because you see the sort of black underneath it. It sort of looks like it's been hand painted on there. It's a nice effect actually. And of course what I'm going to do is I'm going to varnish this. Once this is varnished over, it'll look like somebody's hand painted that on there. It will look awesome, especially if when you're varnishing it you basically write with the brush, the KeilKraft, yeah, in the varnish. It will just look like somebody has hand painted that. It'll look awesome. So there you go, not a long video, but it gives you an idea of what you need and how to do it. And actually, you know what, it's pretty simple. You know, I've learnt some of the shortcuts, so you know, I can knock this out fairly easily, you know, but and I know what I can get away with. But yeah, that looks quite nice. Awesome. I'm very chuffed with that. I'm gonna do the Super 60 logo as well on the other wing. I don't know if I'll do that today. It's now 7 o'clock in the evening. I've been out in this garage all day, and I reckon I must have lost a little bit of weight, hopefully, because I'm sweating like a pig in here. Anyway, yeah, chuffed as. It'll look even better when we get the Super 60 logo on the other wing. I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, after seeing this on here, it makes me want to build a brand new Super 60 that's sort of perfect. You know, and then do it out like this, because yeah, it looks the bollocks. Anyway, like, comment and subscribe. Hopefully this video is not too confusing. The main key parts are that you need a vinyl cutter. The vinyl cutter can also be used as a plotter. You can replace the knife with a pen, and so you can plot out drawings and stuff, which is one of the reasons why I got that one. You then need some software that creates scalable vector graphics. If you don't want to pay for it, then Inkscape is your go-to choice. And then there is actually also a plug-in for Inkscape which allows you to drive the cutter. I've not tried it, but supposedly that will work, and if that does, then you're not having to pay for it. But then you need, like I said, SignCut Pro that actually talks to the cutter and cuts out your SVG files. And it's as simple as that. Yeah. Right, like, comment, subscribe. See you all tomorrow. I might be back on the Storch, or I might just get this wing finished. It depends how hot it gets. Bye.
Thank you for watching Captain Rob's RC Model Geeks. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click that like button. If you want to see more of the same type of videos, don't forget you can subscribe. If you want to support us, you can use PayPal, paypal.me/RC Model Geeks. If you want to contact us, you can email us rcmodelgeeks@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.